Paul's California mansion has been raided by the FBI, multiple news organizations report. You can see in this aerial footage agents in uniform outside his home in Calabasas.
You know what's funny about your brother? Your brother talks more shit than anybody else on the planet. They're trying to sue people when people talk shit. There's people out there saying they're fake fights, they're fixed.
You know, for me, in my opinion, I think it's scripted a little bit because, you know, of the weight difference, and, you know, Joshua's a former, you know, champion. And also, you know, he's current, he's active.
That was not a boxing match. Jake Paul had a very healthy fear for his life while he was in there. He was running away. He was trying to get distance. Then he was trying to step in to win this contest. Then he's trying to get out of the way so that he doesn't get hurt.
Once again, Jake Paul finds himself at the center of a growing controversy, one that many believe could signal the beginning of the end for his highly debated transition from YouTube personality to professional boxer. Fresh accusations have erupted across social media, claiming that Paul may have scripted several of his high-profile fights. Among the most explosive allegations is the suggestion that even his blockbuster Netflix bout against former heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua was somehow pre-arranged. In the most extreme online discussions, some have even gone so far as to claim that Jake Paul and his brother faced potential arrest related to these alleged schemes. While promoters, athletic commissions, and boxing officials have strongly denied that professional bouts can be staged without severe legal consequences, public skepticism surrounding Jake Paul's legitimacy inside the ring has reached a breaking point. The situation feels especially dramatic given Paul's controversial past, which already includes serious legal scrutiny and an FBI raid on his Calabasas mansion. Now, as allegations continue to circulate and his boxing credibility faces unprecedented scrutiny, many are asking a question that once seemed unthinkable: is this truly the end of Jake Paul's meteoric rise in boxing?
FBI agents have raided the Southern California home of YouTube star Jake Paul. Federal officials say the search was part of an investigation. Wendy Birch is in Calabasas with what we're learning tonight.
Sky 5 was overhead this morning as federal agents entered Jake Paul's Calabasas home located in this gated community off of Mulholland Highway. We counted close to 24 federal agents, some of them in tactical gear, entering the residence. Why they were here and what they were looking for, that remains unclear. The federal search warrant has been sealed and no one is offering.
For many within the boxing world, these accusations are far from surprising. Long before the latest arrest rumors surfaced, numerous boxing analysts, former fighters, and promoters had been openly questioning the authenticity of Jake Paul's rise. Critics point to a consistent pattern of carefully selected opponents, often fighters past their prime or lacking elite credentials. Others have highlighted unusual fight pacing, late knockdowns, and contracts rumored to include restrictive clauses that may limit opponents' aggression. Taken together, these elements have fueled the belief that Paul's success feels less earned through competition and more manufactured through strategy and control.
I've always been curious about this because, like, you know, you saw the Askren fight, we saw these fights that he went into. The Fury one obviously didn't go the way that I thought it was going to go, just because I was so convinced that, like, Jake had these fights fixed, and there's a lot of people who talk about the fights being fixed because it's just the way it is.
Yeah, they tell me that too. They're like, tell me you're not going to take a fall against Paul. Everybody says that to me. I'm like, are you kidding me? You could have paid me all the money in the world.
Veteran voices across the sport have repeatedly acknowledged that Jake Paul undeniably brings massive attention, revenue, and new audiences to boxing. However, they also argue that his matchups often avoid genuine competitive danger. According to these critics, the outcomes appear structured to protect the Jake Paul brand rather than to test authentic boxing skill. As controversies continue to stack up, they no longer appear as isolated incidents. Instead, they contribute to a growing narrative that Paul's boxing journey has been built on optics, leverage, and careful orchestration rather than the raw unpredictability and brutal honesty that define the sport at its highest level.
The Jake Paul fight was set up.
What happened to me is what was going to happen to him had he dropped those hands. If I say, Rampage, I'm going to pay you $2 million, right? Let this dude beat you, what you going to do? You're going to feel disrespected, number one, right? That ain't enough money. For me to do that, I got to be willing to walk away for good. Something like 20-something million where I can invest in it, fall off into shape.
The earlier fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul had already captured widespread attention due to its intensity and dramatic buildup. However, the aftermath of that bout sparked even greater controversy. Rumors of a leaked script suggesting that the fight had been pre-planned sent shockwaves across the internet. Alleged audio recordings soon began circulating, seemingly supporting claims that key moments, such as Tyson's apparent fatigue and Paul's eventual knockout victory, were staged. Whether authentic or not, these recordings ignited fierce debate and further deepened suspicions surrounding Paul's fights.
Graduate in the United States is $1.3 million. Again, that's over the course of the person's entire life. Jake Paul earned 30 times that in one night. People talk about winners and losers, like Jake Paul.
Following his victory over Mike Tyson, Jake Paul spoke confidently about his performance in the ring. He claimed that he was rarely hit and never seriously hurt during the fight, framing the bout as a dominant display with minimal resistance. Many of Paul's supporters celebrated his comments, interpreting them as proof that he was capable of standing toe-to-toe with legendary fighters. Critics, however, were quick to respond. They pointed to the lack of genuine danger and excitement, describing Tyson's performance as underwhelming and questioning whether the fight truly represented a fair and competitive contest.
Super Bowl.
Big as the Super Bowl. Big as the what?
Why was Mike wearing assless chaps though in the...
Yeah, did that moment go viral with his cheeks out?
I don't know. It made my stomach hurt.
I was seeing it.
Why didn't he have underwear on?
He had a G-string on. Is what he had.
I thought he was completely butt naked.
Nah, he looked like a stripper.
But yeah, biggest live gate, 18.1 millions in U.S. boxing history outside of Las Vegas. A phenomenal night. I'm sorry I didn't knock him out though, guys.
Shut the fuck up. It was
really
crazy when
sorry.
we talked about this. I told him you were going to say some dumb shit. You did the right thing at the end.
The more recent matchup against Anthony Joshua has drawn similar criticism. Many commentators have described the pairing as fundamentally absurd, citing the enormous gap in experience, size, and pedigree between the two fighters. On one side stands Jake Paul, a YouTuber turned boxer with a 12-1 record. On the other is Anthony Joshua, a former two-time world heavyweight champion who has spent years competing against elite opposition. To many observers, the fight feels less like a legitimate sporting contest and more like a high-profile spectacle, with Paul viewed by some as a cash-grab opponent rather than a credible challenge. These perceptions have only intensified speculation that the event prioritizes entertainment over true competition.
Jake Paul, fake Paul I call him, against Anthony Joshua. Massive unit, two-time world champ, still got a big punch. I think he's mentally fragile at world level if he goes against the big guns because of the knockout, especially the bar knockout when he got fucking splattered. You know what I mean? In round 5, and he got hurt early on and then he got done. And he's not been in the ring for 13 months.
Yeah.
But can you see a world in which Jake Paul is competitive in this fight?
No.
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 How do you see the fight going if AJ takes it serious?
It'll be over when he...
Despite the criticism, Jake Paul is approaching the fight with a level of confidence that has surprised even seasoned analysts. Recent commentary suggests that Paul genuinely believes he can rise to the challenge and secure a victory. Unlike some of his previous matchups, he appears intensely focused and mentally committed. Analysts monitoring his preparation emphasize that his mindset is a crucial factor. His confidence seems to stem from a combination of physical readiness and mental resolve, suggesting that he is not underestimating the challenge of facing a former heavyweight champion but instead embracing it as an opportunity to prove himself on the global stage.
He's very big. I'm here to shock the world, inspire the next generation. We're in the Heat arena. I'm a big Heat fan. Miami's on fire. This is my first pro fight was in Miami against Gibb. I'm bringing that same energy.
Still, Paul's rising confidence has been met with heavy skepticism. Many experienced analysts argue that believing he can seriously challenge someone like Anthony Joshua is unrealistic. Joshua is a highly decorated heavyweight with years of elite training, multiple championship bouts, and proven durability, attributes Paul has yet to face at this level. Some observers have also raised concerns about Paul's physique and sudden physical development, with speculation, though unproven, about reliance on performance-enhancing substances adding another layer of controversy.
Paul natural? No. I can say that with pretty certain confidence in that statement, mainly because, as you heard me mention, I know a lot of the people he trains with and I have heard things. Now let's give Jake the benefit of the doubt, right? He's able to restrain from the peer pressure that everyone's putting on him to hop on these certain compounds. Then that would be cool to train natural, do what he needs to do. But the thing is, his body composition has changed so much, his explosiveness, his power, and yes, that comes with training and time. I find it very suspicious that for some reason, whenever a drug test gets brought up, for instance, when Fury wanted that in the contract, Jake Paul turns them down. So you should think to yourself, it's probably because he's not natural. Now I want to make it clear, I don't care whether Jake Paul is natural or not. There's so many people that aren't natural that are in combat sports. In fact, Tyron Woodley probably is also not natural. Everyone wants that little edge over their competition, and that's where drugs and anabolics come into play. There's certain compounds that are out there that just increase your explosiveness immensely, your recovery, so that you can stay in the same weight class, which is very important for combat sports, whether that's boxing, UFC, whatever type of combat sport you're doing. So that is why you guys have seen so much improvement from Jake Paul. Of course, he has a great circle around him, great trainers, great coaches, a great regimen, but definitely anabolics play a very fundamental role in that. They allow him to train as hard as he does. They allow him to increase his power and speed. And of course, when you think of those concepts, that's essentially the recipe.
Despite the ongoing debate, one thing is undeniable: real money is being placed on this fight. Betting markets have become increasingly active, with fans, casual bettors, and even well-known personalities wagering on potential outcomes. The betting itself has become part of the controversy, further blurring the line between legitimate sporting competition and entertainment spectacle. For many, the heavy wagering only intensifies the question of whether this matchup represents true boxing or carefully packaged entertainment.
So do you think it's going to be real, this fight? Do you think it's actually... So you think that Jake Paul...
You couldn't fake it. You really think Anthony Joshua's going to put his whole livelihood on the line for Jake Paul?
No, I don't think he would.
So there you go. It's over when he wants it to be over.
There could be some kind of tacit agreement in the background.
How?
Where they have a handshake.
Then that's illegal. You're going to jail.
Exactly, it's illegal. That's what I was going to say.
So you can't.
Because it's not an exhibition.
No, it's a fight.
So
and people are betting on it. Big amounts of money.
So we're watching this. I'm flying out there next week to Miami to watch it. So I'm going out there. He's laughing. I'm getting some old. So it's all good. But it's like Jake Paul against Anthony Joshua, 6 foot, what's he, 6'6"?
About that.
Okay, what's he, 16? What's 245 pounds?
He can't be a pound over 245.
What's
so
that in stone?
The best part, just on 17 stone or just under.
So Jake lost to Tommy Fury, and that's the one everyone keeps on. Do you think he's improved much since Tommy Fury?
Yeah, but do I think he's improved enough to make competitive? Unless I close my eyes and Josh is completely shot to bits. No.
Yeah, so is the potential that Jake Paul, like, I know you keep saying no, I know you're right, but is there a world in which you see Jake Paul?
As leaked script allegations continued to circulate, backlash spread to fighters who had previously shared the ring with Jake Paul. Some fans accused these opponents, particularly Mike Tyson, of compromising their legacies. Speculation grew that Tyson may have sold himself for the spectacle, tarnishing his legendary career by participating in a bout widely perceived as staged. These accusations added emotional weight to the controversy, extending its impact beyond Paul alone.
Versus Paul script was fully leaked all the way down to the bow Jake did in round 8. This profile on X posted it anonymously one day before the fight, explaining everything before deleting it today. A fake script has been going around that said Mike Tyson will get KO'd in round 5, but that one was clearly not real or an older script. This will give you goosebumps. I'm just going to read you parts, but if you want to see the full script, I'll show you it at the end. Round 1, opening bell rings and Tyson is showing flashes of his old form, but slower than his prime. Round 2, Tyson comes alive, but his breathing grows heavier. Round 3, Paul gains confidence and lands a sharp right that stuns Tyson. That's exactly what happened. Then round 4 and 5, the fatigue sets in strong for Tyson and Jake is landing a bunch of hits. Round 6, Jake showboats, which is the tongue thing he did here. Then on round 7, Jake plays the safe to not KO Mike. And round 8 wins by decision and bows at the end. This is crazy. Subscribe if you want to read it yourself.
Observers have also pointed to unusual moments during Jake Paul's fights that further fueled suspicion. These include claims of Tyson allegedly whispering instructions to Paul and referees appearing to signal Paul to avoid certain actions. Whether misinterpreted or not, such moments reinforce theories of scripting and choreographed outcomes. In response, Matchroom Boxing CEO Eddie Hearn has firmly denied any suggestion that the Jake Paul vs. Anthony Joshua fight is fixed. Hearn emphasized that if the bout takes place, it will be a legitimate professional contest under Queensberry rules, not an exhibition or a pre-written performance.
Paul versus Mike Tyson was 100% scripted. Mike Tyson repeatedly bit his boxing gloves throughout the fight. When fights are scripted, fighters do weird gestures to signal that they're hurt. It's very possible Mike Tyson was biting on his glove to tell Jake Paul to calm down. Now, if that's not enough proof that this fight was scripted, in the middle of the fight, Mike Tyson is literally talking to Jake Paul while they are clinching. And in the middle of the fight, the referee told Jake Paul to stop measuring. For those of you who don't know, in boxing terms, measuring means that you're setting up for a knockout by seeing how far your opponent is with jab. The referee literally told Jake Paul to stop measuring, and before the fight, we see Mike Tyson and Jake Paul whispering stuff to each other. Mike Tyson biting on his gloves, whispering secrets to Jake Paul in the middle of the fight, and the referee literally telling Jake Paul to stop measuring during the fight. That should be enough proof.
Frank Smith added fresh fuel to the controversy by questioning the true purpose of the Joshua vs. Paul fight. He warned that the event appears to prioritize showmanship over sport, arguing that it is engineered for entertainment and shock value rather than competitive integrity. Smith suggested that what fans are being sold is spectacle rather than a serious test of boxing skill. While expressing optimism that a Tyson Fury vs. Anthony Joshua megafight could still materialize by 2026, he also cautioned that boxing is full of grand ideas that never come to fruition due to logistical and contractual obstacles.
Who say Anthony is ruining his legacy just by taking this fight. Fans don't respect what he's done in the sport already. He's an Olympic gold medalist, two-time unified heavyweight champion of the world. I sort of sympathize with him because I feel like if he doesn't beat him quicker than he beat Francis, people are just going to write it off. I'll ask you bluntly, have there been any discussions about there's an agreement, there's a secret contract? Have any of those discussions happened regarding this fight? It's an 8-round professional fight. AJ wouldn't have taken it if that was the stance it had to be, if it was an exhibition, if it was you've got to hold him up for 8 rounds. It wouldn't suit Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua is going in there to knock out Jake.
Anthony Joshua's promoter, Eddie Hearn, has also directly addressed the scripting accusations. In a joking remark, Hearn claimed that the only script involved is Joshua's plan to step into the ring and knock Jake Paul out as quickly as possible. He later clarified that the comment was meant to emphasize the seriousness of the bout and dismiss any claims of predetermined outcomes. However, the very fact that such rumors require public rebuttal highlights how deeply they have embedded themselves in fan discussions and media narratives.
Sorry, just to silence all the doubters here, you know, a lot of people saying this can't be real, you know, Anthony Joshua going in there, it must be an exhibition, or Anthony Joshua's going to it's going to be choreographed and Anthony's going to carry him through a couple of rounds. I know Anthony Joshua, just to silence all those doubters, he's going to go in there to do a job, right?
It's 100% real. It's 100% real. People asking why is it 8 rounds, not 10? Because I don't think it goes past the first round. So it's, you know, regardless, it's quite irrelevant. I think he steps across the ring and knocks him out. You know, but we're in for a bit of fun, and everyone's going to be tuning in.
It might not be fun for Jake Paul. I mean, it's serious entertainment, is it?
Yeah, 100%. You know, look, I agree with you. I accept Jake Paul is absolutely mental for doing this, and I don't think he quite realises. I think he's got people around him who actually are saying, you know, Anthony Joshua's chinny. He said it in interviews. It's quite wild, but you know, if that's the world he wants to live in, he'll find out on December 19th.
And Frank, to finish with, the plan is still sometime in 2026, AJ against Tyson Fury, and Turki Al Sheikh's working on that, is he?
That's the fight we want to make. That's the fight we want to see. Look, we're all guilty of doing a lot of talking over the years and that not happening. So I don't want to talk too much, but that is definitely what we want to see in 2026. It's one of the biggest fights in the sport, and I'm very hopeful.
Yeah, but it's obviously scripted, isn't it? I'm like, no. 1, that's illegal. I mean, this is a professional contest. 2, we would never sign up to anything that's going to make AJ look bad or devalue him, lose rounds, go loads of rounds.
Do you think there's any world in which AJ pulls back, though?
No, absolutely. He couldn't do that as a fighter. He would be incapable of going in there and holding back. So, I mean, I think the only thing that's a bit harsh is if Anthony Joshua doesn't knock him out in the first round, he should be ashamed of himself. Like, fine, give us 2, like, or 3. Because if Jake does move, he can look after himself. It's not like he's just going to get one shot round the arm and...
So now the question remains, is this truly the end of the Jake Paul era in boxing, or is this simply another scandal that he will once again manage to survive? Share your thoughts in the comments below.